What you don't know about Italy. Italy is located in southern Europe and includes the Italian peninsula and a number of islands including the two largest, Sicily and Sardinia. Although the country occupies the Italian peninsula and most of the southern Alpine basin, some of the Italian territory extends beyond the latter basin and some of the islands lie outside the Eurasian continental shelf. These territories are the municipalities of Livigno, Sesto, and Toblach, partly, and Enchin, Tarvisio, Chiusaforte, and Gran Im Vinchgau, partly. They are all part of the Danube basin. While the Leh Valley forms part of the Rhine basin, the municipal islands of Lampedusa and Linosa are located on the African continental shelf. The country's total area is 301,230 square kilometers, of which 294,020 square kilometers is land and 7,210 square kilometers is water. The length of the Italian coastline, including the islands, is 7,600 kilometers on the Adriatic Sea, the Ionian Sea, and the Tyrrhenian Sea, 740 kilometers. The length of the borders with France is 488 kilometers, Austria is 430 kilometers, Slovenia is 232 kilometers, and Switzerland, while the length of the borders with San Marino is 39 kilometers and 3.2 kilometers. With Vatican City both are shrouded. The Apennines form the backbone of the peninsula and the Alps form the northern border. The Po River, the country's longest river, flows from the Alps on the western border with France and crosses the Baden Plain on its way to the Adriatic Sea. The country's 5 largest lakes by volume are Lake Garda, 367.94 square kilometers, Lake Maggiore, 212.51 square kilometers, Lake Como, 145.9 kilometers 2, Lake Trasimeno, 124.29 kilometers 2, and Lake Bolsena, 113.55 square kilometers. The origin of the name Italy. The name, Italy, comes from the Latin, Italia, pronounced, Ita, Lja. The Latin label source is uncertain. According to one of the most common interpretations, the name is borrowed from Greek from the Oscan name Viteliu, which means, land of young cattle, Latin. Vitulus, or, calf, Umbrian, Vitlo. The bull was a symbol of the tribes of southern Italy and was often depicted goring the Roman wolf as a symbol of defiance for Italian freedom during the Samnite Wars. The name Italy was originally given to part of what is now southern Italy, and according to Antiochus of Syracuse this part was the southern section of the Bruttium Peninsula, modern-day Calabria. The name Enotria was then synonymous with Italy, and the name also applied to most of Lucania. The Greeks gradually applied the name, Italy, to a wider area, but the name did not include the entire peninsula until the time of the Roman conquests. The official language in Italy is Italian. The World Languages website estimates the number of speakers in the world at about 55 million in Italy and 6.7 million outside the country. It is also spoken by between 120 and 150 million people as a second or cultural language. Italian was adopted by the state after the unification of Italy as the language spoken in and around Tuscany, and is somewhat intermediate between the Dalmatian Italian languages of the south and the Gallo-Romance languages of the Italian north. The development of the Italian language was influenced by the languages of the post-Roman Germanic invaders. Unlike most other Romance languages, Italian retained the contrast between short and long consonants that existed in Latin. As in most Romance languages, stress in Italian is distinct. Italian is among the Romance languages closest to Latin in terms of vocabulary.